Before I get started with this story, shout out to Craig J for sending it to me. Now, this is a long awaited update to a story I talked about last year. And y'all probably do or maybe don't remember it, but if you look at the picture on the left, that picture should stand out to you. But that's Darquan Jones, and remember, he was brutally beaten. This happened in Iowa. He was brutally beaten and pretty much almost was killed by these two palm-colored stains upon this earth. And they initially believed that it was a racially motivated attack. I believe it was too, because basically the story was that Darquan Jones was leaving his girlfriend's house, and they saw him, and they specifically targeted him, and they chased him down. They beat him, as you can see by his face. They tried to kill him, but he was able to escape and hide. I think they said he hid in the woods or hid in the bushes or something like that, and that's how he was able to escape. Well, now here comes a long-awaited update for this story. Dale Lee Millard, who is the one on the left of the mugshots, the one that's in the middle, I should say, he was only sentenced with 3 years probation. I don't know what has come of the other one, Jesse James Downs, but the one that Dale Millard, they said he only got 3 years probation, which means that other one's probably going to get the same amount if he even gets that. Mind you, they fractured his face, and they choked him, and they beat him, and they tried to kill him. And that's all they got was 3 years probation. I, for one, am not even shocked that that's what occurred. This story didn't even get that much traction. And if it wasn't for Craig sending me the story, I would have not known about this update. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article coming from the Atlanta Black Star that was posted on March 19th, 2021. A white man convicted for brutally beating a black man last year was sentenced March 10th to 3 years of probation. Dale Lee Millard, age 29, was sentenced on Wednesday, March 10th, 10 months after he brutally beat 23-year-old Darquan Jones in what the NAACP has called a racially motivated attack. Millard was arrested in June and charged with willful injury causing injury, a felony offense. The maximum of prison time Millard faced was 5 years. Millard and 28-year-old Jesse James Downs, who was also charged with willful injury causing serious injury, attacked Jones in the early morning hours of May 16th while he was on his way to his girlfriend's house near the 100 block of East Titus Avenue in Des Moines, Iowa, the Des Moines Register reported. Jones told the Des Moines Register last year that when he knocked on her door, 3 intoxicated men came from behind the house and attacked him before she could answer, allegedly because they thought he was trying to break into the home. A witness said they heard 2 men. Only 2 are charged in the case nearby, saying that racial slur tried to break into our house, so we beat him up. Okay. The injuries Jones suffered included multiple the fact that they call him that N-word lets you know that what position they stood on. The injuries Jones suffered included multiple facial fractures and a broken wrist, required 10 stitches. During the assault, Jones was choked, punched, and dragged to a creek where his head was held underwater. The only thing that was in my head was they're going to kill me, Jones said last year. When they started dragging me to the creek, I thought it was over for me. Medical bills for treatment Jones received for his injuries totaled $10,000. Millard entered an Alford plea in January, acknowledging prosecutors had strong evidence likely to be successful at trial, but continuing to maintain that he was innocent. The plea reduced the severity of the felony. In the deferred judgment, a guilty verdict was withheld and Millard was placed on probation, fined $3,000 in order to pay Jones $10,000 in damage, which was basically his medical expenses. That is, I would say that's some BS, but in palm-colored America, that's a win for them. Downs pled not guilty in August and has an April 15th court date. I don't expect his outcome to be any different than this one's right here. All he got is 3 years probation, which means he can still roam free. He just can't do certain things, like most likely come in contact with the victim. The men were not charged with hate crimes. That's strike one. That was the major thing right there. Although Jones, who did not appear in court or release any statements through prosecutors on the day of the sentencing, previously said he believes they should be, Cameron Middlebrooks, president of the NAACP in Des Moines, said after the attacks that the beating warrants hate crime charges after speaking with Quan, his family, and the witnesses that have come forward. If the story is as they stated is, then what occurred yesterday should be nothing less than a hate crime, he said. And it was a hate crime. They didn't even get them on attempted murder charges. They tried to drown him. He's lucky that he got out alive. Like, they tried to drown him. And the thing is, they knew he wasn't trying to break into that home. They probably have seen him before, or maybe I don't know what it is. Now, I didn't say it back then, but now that I'm seeing it now, I now believe that his girlfriend, or whoever this girl he was going to go see, is PC. Because I didn't want to like say it back then, because they didn't really go into too much detail about it back then. Or maybe they did, but maybe I missed it. But when they said they were coming from the back of the house, if they lived there, then I truly believe that his girlfriend, I don't know if he's still with, he probably isn't, or now I'm not sure, is PC. Which means they saw this black guy coming over there to see white girl, or however old she is, and their inner dub-s kicked in, and they automatically said, oh, he's over here trying to break in. They knew he wasn't trying to break in, because he knocked on the door or rung the doorbell, and all they saw was this black figure coming up to the doorstep, and they just had to attack. Now, they said it was a third one there, but they didn't specify who the third one is. I'm guessing they're giving him protection as well. But yeah, they are weak. Okay, those PC individuals who are like these two right here are weak, and all he got was 3 years probation. I won't hold my breath that the other one's going to get the same. That is going to get something different. He's probably gonna get the same thing, if not less. And all he has to pay is $3,000. $13,000 in total, which I'm sure he can probably find a way to cough up at some point in probation, y'all. Then they said they didn't give no hate crime charges to this whatsoever. So they, in their eyes, saw that the damage is done to him. That was like, okay, it's whatever. But I bet if it was the only other way around, and the black guy was defending himself, he would get hit with the charges, because only in America can black people defend themselves and it be looked at as a crime. But we're just supposed to just take it on the chin. That's basically what they're saying, that we should just be allowed to be attacked by any and everyone, and that's okay. But if God forbid, we decide to strike back, then it's a crime. It reminds me of that video. And I never talked about it, but I'll talk about it here for all intents and purposes. There was a video of this white girl in a school who was attacking this. She looked like a Muslim girl. I think she was Muslim. She was brown in complexion, was like a really dark brown skinned girl. And she was just hitting her for no reason. This big burly looking white girl. And all of a sudden, this black girl came in out of, like, mind you, the white girl, like, they were, like, the kids was laughing and cheering her on and everything like that. But the minute that the black girl came in and started going in on her to protect the girl that she was attacking, they got quiet. And then you had the white teacher come in and try to pull the black girl off of her. So that's another example right there. When we are defending ourselves, or when we're trying to defend each other, you'll have PC right there in the background yelling and making a bunch of noise to bring attention to it, or trying to stop everything from happening if we are defending ourselves against them. But, that's how it is. At least at the end, I don't know how many times I watched that video, but y'all know what video I'm talking about. I must have watched that video at least 100 times, because she went in on her. As a matter of fact, I might even go watch that video after I'm done recording this video. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure that you text the number that is pinned down in the comments below to receive notifications every time I upload a new video.